I'd like to call to order the meeting of June 16, 2015. Would you all please stand for the invocation of allegiance?
Lord, we acknowledge your presence among us tonight, and we pray for your guidance during this meeting. Give us the wisdom to work in the best interest of everyone in our community. In your name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Does everyone have their microphone? Becker?
Yes.
Sauter?
Here.
Bain?
Here.
Schloneger? Challenger?
Here.
Simpson?
Here.
Blakeman?
Here.
Willard?
Here.
Blaisdell?
I did make some adjustments to the microphone.
I can tell.
So,
I can tell the court tonight, too.
I'm more than ready if Larry's gonna help us out back there if it starts smoking or anything. But, it may be a little sensitive and I'm trying to get it narrowed down. This is too sensitive.
It sounds clearer, I think. Is it too loud?
Can you hear it?
Good. Well, there will be a public hearing this evening at 7:15 regarding the 2016 proposed tax budget. In the meantime, we'll move into reading of communications. First is a proclamation. Whereas the Civil Service Commission was formed in May 2001 after the Village of Columbiana became a city on March 30th, 2001. And whereas Rick Noel did faithfully serve as a commission member from the inception of the Civil Service Commission in March 2001 until he resigned on March 1st, 2015 to further serve on the Planning Commission for the City of Columbiana. And whereas being one of the first members of the commission, these members face the challenges of forming the rules and procedures that forthcoming commission members will follow to ensure fairness to all employees of the City of Columbiana. And whereas he was dedicated and sacrificed his valuable time to serve on the commission to enforce the rules and procedures established to ensure fairness to all employees of the City of Columbiana. And whereas Rick's devotion of the past 14 years to the City of Columbiana's people has earned him the respect and friendship of his fellow commission members, fellow citizens, and employees of the city. Now therefore, we, the council of the City of Columbiana, do hereby proclaim our appreciation to Rick Noel. We further express our friendship and good wishes for his good health, prosperity, and enjoyment of life. Rick's here this evening. Thank you. We'll get this ready. Next, we have another proclamation for the Columbiana Police Officers Recognition Day. Whereas the City of Columbiana hereby proclaims July 1st, 2015 as Columbiana Police Officers Recognition Day at the request of the Reclam Base of the United States Submarine Veterans. The submarine veterans are highly appreciative and thankful for the service each member of the force provides on a daily basis. Whereas the police officers for the City of Columbiana routinely provide an outstanding service to the citizens of the community, often with little or no recognition for their bravery and service, frequently at great risk to themselves in the performance of their duties. And whereas the leaders and membership of the United States Submarine Veterans Incorporated recognize the service and desire to have the police department publicly acknowledged in a meaningful way. Now therefore, I, Brian Blakeman, Mayor of the City of Columbiana, with the authority vested in me, do hereby proclaim July 1st, 2015 as Columbiana Police Officer Recognition Day, and thankful appreciation for the service that these officers provide every day. Our shared understanding of what it means to protect and serve our fellow citizens every day makes this bond of fellowship one that strengthens our respect for the men and women of the force. I urge all citizens of the City of Columbiana to take the time to thank these public servants and give them the support that they need to help us maintain the peace in our community this day and every day. Signed by the council. Thank you, Chief. Please relay that back to the officers. I think with everything else that's going on, I think our community, as well as many communities, are a shining beacon of what good policing is. And I think what's going on in the world, especially in the U.S. right now, trying to give you guys a bad name is wrong, and why our country is the way that it is. Scott, appreciate
Yes, sir. We feel the same way. We've got a good group.
I'm sorry, I skipped minutes. You received the meeting minutes for June 2nd, 2015. Were there any errors or omissions to those? They'll be accepted as submitted. Sorry about that, I looked at the public hearing thing and blended right in. Okay, number 6C, we've got a letter from Four Wheel Drive Hardware. Dear Mr. Willard, Four Wheel Drive Hardware is hosting our annual Jeep Jamboree on September 25th through 27th. We will be having a Jeep and greet at the Sandwich Factory in the Columbiana Plaza on Friday evening, the 25th, with the bulk of our activity occurring on the official days of the Jamboree, which is the 26th and 27th. For more information on our event, you can visit their website, fourwheeldrive.com. This letter is to make you aware of the Jamboree and our need for auxiliary police help during the event. The auxiliary help will be to protect the Warningley Avenue entrance, tents, tables, food vendor stands, field events, semis and trailers that are set up from vandalism or curiosity from outsiders. This letter is also to ask your permission to borrow the garbage drums and barricades again this year. We are grateful to the city for allowing us to use them in the past. We would truly appreciate using them again this year. If possible, we would like to have them at our location no later than Thursday, September 24th. We also would like to use your water truck again this year to wash off the Jeeps after they've gone through the mud pit. You can send the shirts, sizes of the men that will help with the water truck. We would like to provide them with 2015 Jamboree t-shirts as a way of thanking them for their time. We will also donate $1,500 to the Firefighters Association. We appreciate the support the City of Columbiana gives us and wanted to keep you up to date on the activity that will result in Columbiana during this weekend. If you have any questions, please contact me. Sincerely, Rick Daly, Senior Jeep Brand Manager. That's a nice event.
And it's gonna be basically the same as it was last year. So I think it would be proper to have a motion as long as they have the insurance. I think we'd be ready to go.
So moved. Second.
Any comment? Dan?
Becker?
Yes.
Sauber?
Yes.
McBain?
Yes.
Callender?
Yes.
Simpson?
Yes.
Under reports of commissions and boards, you received the planning commission meeting minutes of June 9th, 2015. Are there any questions on those? If not, we're going to move into recognition of persons desiring to appear. Is there anyone here this evening who would like to speak to council? Come on up. Just state your name and address.
Dan Woods, 294 West Salem. Seems like we had quite a bit of rain the last few days, and my front yard was entirely flooded, 1.5 foot water, and I was just wondering, I was under the assumption something was being done about the runoff, but with my front yard didn't look like it. And there was a new swath running between Mrs. Snade's house and my house, 3 feet from my basement window. The swath was approximately 8 feet wide, and I'm just wondering why that's going on. Was there a problem with the sewer? Was there a problem, blockage somewhere? And when I say there was water in my front yard, the entire yard, except maybe 20%, was water, and about 1.5 feet deep.
Yeah, I actually stopped by your house today to talk to you about my business card, and I think gonna meet with you and potentially the street superintendent probably Thursday or Friday if we can. I think there might have been something going on right in your front yard.
Yeah, we checked actually the paths, they were clear,
Okay,
but I really don't think that 12-inch conduit's enough.
okay.
Because that thing was maxed out and it was just overflowing. Because the trench that runs alongside of my house, it was running full bore. There was no interruption. And it was actually coming down, Jerry Ziegler was having a problem up there too, up higher than me, and Mrs. Snee was having a problem. But we both cleaned out those, and it was just everywhere. But you're more than willing to check that.
Sure.
But
Yeah, we don't have the master plan is to put a large line all the way up through there. And we haven't done that.
I talked to John down at the Baird, there's an engineer guy I talked to
okay.
personally today,
Yeah,
and he said to fix the local problem, we're looking at approximately $2 million. He just gave me a number,
yeah.
approximately, not exact, but the whole city, 15 million, approximately, not exact.
I think he's here.
Is that you? Thanks for coming, John.
You're welcome.
And, I don't know, I just don't want the street's water in my basement, and last time looking at it, it was pretty darn close. And, bought that house a couple years ago. I don't want no problems. You know, we'll sandbag it and send it back to you if we have to, but we gotta do something, because I can't have that. And I also know there was gonna be some set-aside money for that, and I'd like to kind of know what happened to it. I know we saved some money for insurance. Did we save money with the insurance? Did we actually save that money?
Oh, as far as,
As far over the insurance
Over
for
the last
municipal
several years,
employees, whatever?
we've had discussions about,
yeah, since 2009, we've been talking about, the fix, and in
Right.
2011, we did a study.
Okay, has anything else happened? Has anybody else's, like, yards been, anything been done?
No, we have not done anything on that master plan yet.
Okay, so we have nothing going on for storm sewers or anything?
No, we have not done
Okay.
any major projects. We've done little ones here and there, but nothing major. There needs to be as you referred to, as a trunk line up through there, that the large project that would be the main artery for North Middle and.
Okay, so anybody have any recommendations what I should do when this rain comes and it's coming to go in my basement?
Well, I think the short term, we'll try to see if we can, maybe mitigate some of it. I'm not sure exactly.
But I just
what's
want
going on.
to get me involved in it. If you want me to do something, let me know. Just don't hide in the shadows and say we're doing something and have nothing happen. I'd appreciate that, because it was pretty concerning last night. Okay? That's all I want to say.
Where'd you say you live again?
294 West Salem.
a couple of years ago, we talked about, not setting aside the whole, we talked about stormwater fees. And
Yeah.
I don't think that, not only did it never take off in town, there wasn't a lot of support from council for it either. But I think that we should probably look at something again. I'm still against a fee citywide. I think that would be good to take some money annually, like I suggested a couple of years ago, putting directly into a fund for that so that we can pick off small projects at a time rather than looking at a $15 million animal that's under the water plant. Look at the problem points and start picking them off.
Yeah, and I think Ted specifically asked about that in November of last year, November, December. Didn't make anything on the budget, but maybe we can look at some CDBG, look into it again.
Mayor, I'm trying to get done before your quarter after.
I know.
Dick Simpson, Commander, American Legion Post 290, Columbiana. On July 23 and 24, I believe it is, American Legion Post 290 planning on having a circus in town. 2 shows a day, one at 4:30, one at 7:30. We would like the city's blessings on that. Also that we would like for you to waive the $25 a day fee, and we're willing to send a check in for the $1,000 bond. Chances are everything will be fine, and what's happened in the past, they held the check, give it back to us as we didn't have a problem. Also, as a member of the U.S. Submarine Veterans, I want to thank the council for taking the time for the proclamation for the police department. We surely approve of it. It's a situation, those of us who serve, Chief, appreciate those that you have, who are.
Do we have a motion on that?
So moved. Second.
Any comments? Deanne?
Sauer,
Yes.
McBain,
Yes.
Callender,
Yes.
Simpson,
Abstain?
Becker.
Yes.
At this time, we need to go to your public hearing, 7:15, regarding the 2016 proposed tax budget. Anyone here this evening have any comments on that? Anyone from council? Not, I will close the public hearing on the 2016 proposed tax budget. Anyone else from council? Come on up.
Jacob Sedek, 1100 Fairfield School Road. Obviously last night, and the last few days, there was a lot of rain. But there's 4 of us down there that have been contacting Lance and Jesse, trying to get storm drains put in down there. We're told we have to pay our part to get the materials. This has been 3 years running, and yet there's nothing. 4 of us have money to do it. We've been trying to get it done. Through meetings and that, I don't know if Keith had a portal washout last night on his driveway or not, but I know I had plenty of standing water in my front yard, my neighbor's front yard. Paul Miners looked like he had a leak in his front yard, and he does not. Curious about what's going to happen. We're willing. We got told to pay to get the drains, and so it's been 3 years. This has been a lot of talk.
When was the last time you brought this up?
Keith Crowder's been kind of spearheading the last about a year.
We did meet with him last week, I believe, and we specifically asked to wait just a little bit. I know Jesse, I think he met with him last week. And I'm not sure exactly. I know about Keith's situation. I don't remember your situation, or exactly where you're at. But since we passed the new stormwater regulations, that's going to affect that area and affect your area. So that's why we asked. We didn't want you guys paying for it. I can speak to Keith. Again, I'm not sure about your situation, but Jesse wants to do something in that area. Hated to do it this spring, even if we did have time. And then, past regulations that we come to find out through research with John on that stormwater regulations that we're really responsible for at least some of that cost above and beyond what you think you're going to do. So there's a chance that you're going to save some money. We're looking at doing that.
I know Paul will be excited because he has the large front yard out of all this stuff.
Yeah, and I'm not sure, I just remember the name Keith. I can have Jesse get a hold of you, but that's the plan. Because whoever has the plate over the driveway,
Keith.
that's Keith.
Yeah. His is the most virgin, I know that right now.
So I'll have Jesse get a hold of you.
Anyone else? Anyone else?
Good evening, Terry McCoy, representing the Business Development Committee. Just want to give everyone an update on the sign project, the pathway finding to the center of town. We were scheduling to have a public meeting at the library on July the 6th, Monday evening at 6 p.m. at the library. You're all invited to come participate.
What was the time there?
6 p.m.
On July the 6th.
July the 6th. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Anyone else? Now we can move into the manager's update.
Going to be advertising for the tree pruning and tree removal soon. There's a progress report in your packet regarding the Salem area websites. That was what Larry Stevens had originally proposed. And as you can see, it's a couple-page document, and they're moving right along. And it seems to be as user-friendly as they thought. And I think actually there's a couple improvements on what they originally thought it was going to be. So it's pretty exciting. And he will have another update in July, and hopefully we can wrap this thing up this summer. So should be good. Norfolk Southern did close the crossings yesterday, all three at the same time. We did have safety forces on both sides the entire time. They did give us enough time to do that. They were done, but as we came to council tonight, there was probably a train broke down or something. I'm not sure what happened, but
We have a call to them, and it looked like some type of problem on there with the train itself. We have had them sort of keep word as of the time.
It's open.
it's open. And we're really trying to get them to smooth out the Elm Street track because we can't be waiting. You know, I talked to you about it 2 weeks ago to get them there to do it, but we're gonna be there tomorrow through Friday waiting on them to get that cold patch put in there because they did state this week that if there's a backhoe is there, which it was today, that we're just gonna tell the guy to go patch it again because it's unacceptable. Park and Cemetery, they working on other projects. We're working on farmland, sprucing it up, doing some landscaping and replacing some of the tires. The geese are still under control. There's only the two families that I've been talking about last couple meetings. Electric department, our digger truck is still in the repair shop and we're trying to put a rush on it, but having difficulty on parts or something. And as you drive through the park, there's a tree pruning project in there, so we can get safety forces and trucks in there. If you drive through, you can see that they did start on that. We did lose a tree there, and we're working on that. I think that was happening, Friday during that storm. Street department raised manholes last week, and they started paving today. They weren't able to get out there yesterday, but they're gonna continue tomorrow, and they did work late tonight. I talked to Jesse. I don't think they stopped until about 6:30, so they're only have to put up with our rough streets a little bit longer. And then I should note that within the next 30 days after that, well, I'd say by the end of July, we're going to be working on a section of Metz Road between Camelot and Fairfield School. You know, as you come down that slope, you'll see the potholes and stuff, and we're gonna address that. We're gonna try to. We believe that there's some type of drainage problem under there, like a natural spring or something. If you're coming down West Metz, traveling from Fairfield School, you'll see how it's always breaking loose there. So we're going to try to fix the base and maybe put some type of French draining system in there, so we can, once we do fix it in July, it'll be permanently fixed. So that's the plan. We're working on filter media, inspecting that at the wastewater plant. They're still rebuilding all the motors and gearboxes. The storm last night, I've heard anywhere from 1.73 inches over the 24 hours, and that's a lot of rain. It's a lot of rain in the past 5 days. I believe that we've passed the mark for the month of June. Typically we get about as much rain as we did in the last 3 days. So we did work on trouble spots before the storm yesterday, and then the street department was out at 7 o'clock. They didn't leave till late last night, maintaining catch basins, and we did have a couple calls to the police station, the one on North Middle, and we did go out to Terra Verde for a catch basin there. And let's see, everything seemed to be running full capacity for what we do have, and we didn't need the high water signs for the underpass, so that's really good. The water did get up there, but we had to clean that off a couple times, but we didn't have to put high water signs. We did have to put high water signs on Duquesne near Dickies, and we're going to look into that to see if there's anything we can do to mitigate that in the near future. south of 294 West Salem today, and intend to follow up on that. I invited John today to talk a little bit more about the parking out in front of Mercantile Square. And I do have a cost estimate and a map or a blueprint of what the recommendation is. John, do you mind coming up?
Oh, sure.
Or you can just stand there, I guess.
Okay.
One of each here. I guess the recommendation is a bump out,
Bump in, I
bump
guess.
in, okay?
Recommendation, we sent a survey crew out and we measured the actual curbs in the alley and located the corners of the buildings. So we have a true representation of what the distances and measurements are. East Park Avenue right now only has 32 feet curb to curb on that, on the parkway there. Typically, that's not enough for parking on an arterial type street. I did look up the traffic counts on East Park Avenue in 2009. ODOT did a traffic count on that. I realize that's 6 years old, but there was over 4,600 vehicles a day on that street, which that's a lot of traffic. There's a lot of state routes that don't carry anywhere near that amount. So there is a lot of traffic traveling that route. Typically, recommendations from ODOT and ASHTO to have parking in a street where you would carry that much traffic. You would have a minimum width of 36 feet, and that's, I say, minimum. Normally, their recommendations for that would be a 12-foot lane and then an 8 to 10-foot parking lane on that. So it would typically go from 20 to 22 feet. When we did the survey, what we found, there's a existing construction joint, control joint in the sidewalk there. We could move that curb back about 4 feet and then match that existing construction joint in the sidewalk. So basically we'd be able to it would be 4 to 5 feet, actually about 5 feet, that would move that curb back. We'd still have a 7-foot sidewalk in front of the building, and that would give 21 feet basically in that location, and that would fit typical ODOT or actual guidelines for parking on a street like that. We'd only be able to create 2 spaces in front of that Mercantile on the square, and we would radius in and radius out. Also a major power pole there that has to be protected, so we would wrap a little island around that and try and protect that pole so we don't direct someone into, when they're parking, to skimming that pole. But that appears to be, would be the best recommendation for that area. The guy wire on the current pole would actually have to be relocated also. Put it on a shorter, sometimes called the sidewalk guide. It comes more straight down instead of angling down like it does right now. And I did do a cost estimate. I believe you have that. And we're estimating just to move the curb back and replace that with pavement. Back to that joint in the concrete, estimating $16,447. If the additional walk behind that and back to the building was replaced, would be an additional $7,174. Those are just construction costs. I didn't include any engineering costs in those numbers.
We talked about the center line. Could we talk a little bit about that, or?
There were some comments about moving the center line over to accommodate parking. I really wouldn't recommend that for several reasons. Number one, when you move the center line over like that, you have to taper in and taper out to do that properly, and those tapers would basically carry into the circle. So you would have a situation where westbound, the taper would be going the correct way, but anyone coming around eastbound, trying to go on East Park, they would be actually going against that. They would hit that, enter, and then they would have to immediately taper over. So it'd be a really hard configuration going eastbound if we move that center line over. It's generally not recommended to put kinks in center lines like that. You have drivers of all ranges from 15 and a half to 80 and all different abilities and different distractions and everything else. And anytime you want to try and keep things as normal as possible and not, make a driver have to make a maneuver like that. So that would be another thing we typically wouldn't want to see in a street design. I put a kink in like that. And then also, it looks to me like the antique store and some of the other ones on the other side, they probably are challenged for the parking just as Mercantile on the Square is. And I would assume there's probably times where UPS and FedEx probably just pull up to the curb and run into those stores as well. And they're in and out in a minute or so. But if you push that center line over, then that would take that ability away from the stores on the south side of the street. You'd basically be infringing on your merchants on the south side of the street if that is moved over. So I would not recommend moving the center line.
Are we looking for a legal ability to just remove the ordinance?
I think I need to say something at this point in time. I think this is vital to the conversation. No business owns or has any right to any public on-street parking. None. The Planning Commission, when it grants authority for business to come into town and goes through the site plan review process, is obliged to follow Chapter 1292, off-street parking and loading. Now, the chapter is lengthy, but I'll just read two sentences from the chapter which sum it up. This is from 1292.01. In all districts, in connection with every building or part thereof, herein after created, sufficient parking facilities shall be provided off-street to meet all parking needs. So anytime a business comes to town, seeks permission to do business here and goes through the site plan review process, they have to provide off-street parking for all of their needs. Now, the last sentence of that chapter says unequivocally, no parking, loading, or surfacing shall be done on the right-of-way of any publicly dedicated thoroughfare. Now, in this particular case, there's a site plan review on record that shows parking in the back, which is perfectly appropriate. So there is no reliance, there can be no reliance on any public on-street parking by any business in town, including this one. So you need to know that when you're considering whatever you're going to consider. If you have an ordinance on the record, on the books, which says no parking on East Park Avenue anywhere, there are signs all the way up and down the street, and you have this provision in the planning and zoning code, which is unequivocal. It's black and white.
Go ahead, and the owner of.
Okay.
You have to come up to the microphone, say your name and address.
When you do due diligence, my name's Jill, I own the business. I put a lot of money into it, and I did due diligence ahead of time. I came to your city officials and I inquired about the city parking. I was told it was permissible. Every business before me has had city parking in front of that building. Now all of a sudden it's a problem after I've spent all this money. I don't appreciate that. The person in the office was Bob Belding. I believe he told you, and it was reported in the newspaper, that he told me it was permissible city parking. So why would I even have it included in my site plan permission requested if it was already established to me that it was permissible parking? You know, this is upsetting. The time to have changed this would have been in between tenants, not after I spent a fortune over there. Very upsetting. I did my due diligence. I checked into that because it was important to me. I knew I had 7 spaces in back. I knew they were gonna have to be used for other things. But I'm gonna tell you something. I need those 3 spaces out there in front. I need them bad. It makes a big difference. Not happy about this one bit. Not one bit.
My opinion, if St. Louis is good, we repeal that ordinance. That's my opinion.
Well, you have a problem repealing the ordinance because the ordinance covers the entire East Park Avenue. I don't think you want to permit parking on both sides of the street on all of East Park Avenue. So you would have to write some kind of an ordinance or amendment that would allow permit parking in some limited amount of spaces on East Park Avenue, not just repeal the ordinance.
That's fine. That's cheaper than $16,000 for engineering, and it serves the same purpose that we've had for the last, forever. And then there's been open parking spaces there forever.
You still only have a 32-foot street.
It's been 32 feet forever.
It's been no parking since 1950. John, can I ask you a question?
Sure. I'm not a real sharp guy, but I learned a long time ago to start listening between shells and mays, if you will. I've heard numerous times that the recommendation to do what we're doing there is what, 36 feet?
36 feet would be.
Now, is that a recommendation or is that rules? Is that law?
Well, basically, you know, that's ODOT and American Association of State Transportation officials. Those are the only published documents that really guide the design of streets in our area. So none of them say anything less than 18 feet would be sufficient for parking.
Do they say it's illegal?
Or, well, they don't say it's illegal, but those are the design guidelines. Now, I guess if you choose not to follow the accepted guidelines that are accepted in Ohio and also the nation, then I guess that's probably your prerogative. I don't know that it's a law, but those guidelines are used by, you know, thousands and thousands of entities, you know, across the nation. So I can't tell you that anything less than 36 feet width there with parking is acceptable. And that wouldn't be good engineering practice for me to tell you that you could do something less than that.
But and my concern and my thoughts are is Columbiana is 200 years old plus. And a lot of the streets in this town still have the old stone curbs that it was put together way back when, and they never dreamed of a 23-foot long pickup truck. With mirrors. Ted, I don't know how wide your truck is. 8'6"?
Won't fit an 8-foot door.
Okay. So that time was never thought of. What's the rest of the world doing? The old world, if you will. And I understand the black and white both sides here. I'm trying to figure out, example, Duquesne Street. It's not a main thoroughfare, but yet a lot of traffic. You can't pass 2 cars there, period, with cars parked. South Main Street's very similar, past the railroad tracks. Is there any thoughts about old towns and how do we handle this, or do we have to throw a ton of money at it to be right?
Well, the guidelines do change with the amount of traffic and the classification of the street. There's arterials, which I would consider, you know, the main part of Main Street and East Park.
and West Park, North and South Main, at least to the tracks, I would call those your urban arterials in the city of Columbiana. Those are the highest classifications. They carry the most traffic and they need the most width because you have the potential of more conflicts when you have more traffic. Now, when you go down to the next classification down, or collector streets, sometimes those permit parking maybe one side only, and in that case, that by design, maybe the center line is offset a little bit, but it's not, it doesn't have deflections in it. It's purposely, it's to one side, you might allow parking on one side. And then the lowest classification are your local streets, and they might carry 100 or 200 cars a day, and a lot of times, parking on those, they're very slow and very few conflicts, and so they do allow parking. So as the classifications of the street change, then the guidelines change as far as the width and the parking requirements. But in particular, what I would classify East Park as an arterial, and to meet an arterial, you need that 36-foot width. Now, some of the other ones you speak of, Duquesne, I would probably call that a collector street, so it can be a little narrower. And then when the extreme on South Main, again, there really is no, it dead ends there, so as you get further and further, you have less and less traffic, so the conflicts are much less than what we're talking about on this part.
Thank you.
Do we have the ability to do some of this work ourselves? If we think about this, talk about this bump in, rather than hire it out, have our street department do it?
I would have to, I did not ask Jesse about that. We have some talented cement workers on that.
Just throwing it out there.
And I'm not sure how much of that, I can all to you, but we definitely tear out the stuff.
Do you have an estimate of what the engineering cost would be?
It'd probably be $2,000 to $2,500. It wouldn't be all that high for that.
Not for me.
They might be able to remove the walk, at a minimum.
Do some demolition,
Yeah, demolition.
maybe put the pole anchor in.
Yeah. But I can, definitely check with Jesse to see what else they might be able to do. This is a cost estimate for a regular.
Right, if you were to hire a contractor to do it. Yes.
I would suggest that we like sit down on it until the next meeting, at least with the council.
Mayor,
I said we should sit on this at least until the next meeting. I'm sorry, I thought,
when
sorry.
the air conditioning comes on, I don't hear you at all.
I think we should sit tight to the full council.
I think there's also some information that plans to check up on too.
If we're talking about spending money, I'd like to know how much if the city's gonna build, what's it gonna cost us. The business owner maybe have assistance with us, help us with that money. It's kind of like to me right now, the railroad crossing, I'm not right at the moment. Mr. Flynn's my friend, but I'm really not in favor of spending these people's tax dollars to put a special crossing in. And we're spending these people's tax dollars to, and I sympathize with it to make 2 parking spaces as well, which is good for the business. And I think we need it there. I had discussion today with the parks manager, Go Ford, and only very few of us here old enough to know him. We always parked out front there, and that was in the fifties and sixties, so. But I think we gotta be careful spending tax dollars in that respect without some help from somebody else.
Still say it's the easiest thing and freest thing to just change the ordinance and allow it. Then it's free.
Well, that's the reason why I asked about the recommendation versus law.
Yeah, I agree with you. Any other comments on that? Anything else in your update?
Yeah, I guess my only other comment is that, you know, the safety of you know, potential molest sign. I think that's the root right there on that project. I did have one other thing here. Let's see. Yeah, I guess that's it, oh, I think of what it was. That Park took some pictures of the, updated, locker room, or changing room, I should say. This was installed here recently along with, they did the, I don't have the before and after pictures, I apologize for that, I thought I took them, but, well, it's not to save them, but, that was a nice project to do this year.
Well, I can vouch that looks much better.
Yeah. Let's see, it's, yeah, you got the building and zone report, and that's all I really have on.
Okay. We'll receive the bill list for June 16th. Is there any comments or questions on that?
There's just one, I just wanted to note there was a misprint on the next to last page, under check 111994. We have the pay in the city of Columbiana, $12,044.71. And the, out on the right-hand column, the description says utility refunds. That should be utility charges. That's what we charge all the other departments. That'd be a lot of refunds. So that's not refunds, that's what the actual bills are that we charge each of the departments.
No other comments. I need a new blank ordinances to read by title only.
So moved.
Second?
Deanne?
McBain?
Yes.
Callender?
Yes.
Simpson?
Yes?
Becker?
Yes.
Souter?
Yes.
Ordinance number 15-0-2826, second reading. An ordinance amending chapter 1294, section 1260.35, definition of sign, area of subsection A of Planning and Zoning Code of the Codified Ordinances of Columbiana, Ohio.
So moved.
Second.
Any comment? Deanne?
Callender?
Yes.
Simpson?
Yes?
Becker?
Yes.
Souter?
Yes.
McBain?
Yes.
Under new business, I need a motion to set a public hearing for July 21st, 2015 at 7:15 PM for amendment to section 1294.06B3 and 1294.06B6A of chapter 1294.
So moved.
Second.
Just a comment, I think this is the language that the planning commission is, that's what this is for. This is just for the allowance of signs and banners and the height and everything. Deanne?
Simpson?
Yes.
Becker?
Yes.
Souter?
Yes.
McBain?
Yes.
Callender?
Yes.
Need a motion to approve the 2016 proposed tax budget.
So moved.
Second.
Any comments?
I just have one comment, Brian. On the second page, under all remaining funds, under the water fund, we have in there both the revenue that is anticipated and the expenditures for the new water plant for 2016. If you recall, this year's budget, I took that out of there because we knew it really wasn't going to, nothing was going to get done other than some engineering. So it is back in the 2016 budget based on the estimate that we received. And so I just wanted to make sure you realize that that $23 million wasn't all just from services. That is, includes over $20 million for the loan and the grant for the new water plant. And also the other thing was, under the self-funded health insurance, you can see that there's nothing in there as far as revenues or expenses. Since we are no longer, don't have the self-funded insurance, the actual paying of the insurance bills comes out of each department. They pay their portion.
So we're keeping that just to see how this goes with the transition.
Right, there's a small balance in there now, though, and I can't say that we just got a check for that was over the stop loss, and that'll go back into that fund. So, we'll see how it goes, but we're really locked in till October, right? October of 2016 on the new health insurance. So, at that time, we'll review the health insurance again.
Pie in the sky. If that happens and we were able to stay with the type of plan we have now, is it legal for us to transfer those funds to use as down payment for, say, stormwater upgrades? I don't mean now, I just mean like if we decide to keep going forward with that rather than just have that money sitting there?
That's probably something I'd have to check on. I know, you can't use funds that are in specific, funds for other stuff. Like I can't use money that's in the sewer department to pay for stuff in the cemetery.
Well, because it's a self-funded health insurance program fund, if we were to eliminate that as a program, and rather than have a couple $1 million balance sitting there, if there's any way that we could transfer that back to the general fund that we could reappropriate to something, that we're looking into.
But just a note, it's not gonna be a couple $1 million.
It may not even be 100,000.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's it.
Deanna?
Becker? This is
We're
motion
going
on
to
the
be
tax-
back up.
Motion on the tax budget.
On the tax budget, yes.
Sauer?
Yes.
McBain?
Yes.
Callender?
Yes.
Simpson?
Yes.
We have a executive session planned for the discussion of confidential information, 121.22 G8. Will there be any action afterwards? Okay, would you like to do council comments now then?
Do you believe there'll be any?
No.
Dan, just to let you know, okay, one of the first things that I asked Lance tonight was, did he receive any phone calls and things like that concerning this water? It's very apparent to all of us that there are issues. We can't control what the guy does upstairs, but just to let you know, it's definitely on my mind.
Okay, I appreciate it.
Okay? And Jake, that kind of goes with you, since I don't know where you live, but I know where his land is. I also had some problems, but, we'll do the best we can do.
Thank you.
And since that's on your radar, there was someone at East Park reached out to me yesterday, Sean Sprouse.
I know Sean.
And I put him in touch with Lance. I think Lance is going to meet with their family later this week.
He's 3 houses down from my residence.
I think they had some issues yesterday also. I have a couple of quick comments, suggestion, recommendation, or what do you want to call it, but lately I've been noticing there's an awful lot of both good and bad, and people not knowing what's really going on, a lot of speculation and things of that nature on Facebook. It flies all over the place. I'm wondering if there's any way that we can post our council meeting agendas and minutes, either on the city's website or on the city's Facebook page, because that spreads that out, lets people know what's going on in town. I think it might also kill speculation. I mean, we've got, right now, I mean, I saw this week, because we have a lot of economic development going, a lot of businesses moving in, people are, who's this, where are they going, what is it? If they had the agendas to like the planning commission agendas, they could see what's going on and remove a lot of the speculation. And I mean, if it's something that's already electronic or PDF, we'd probably throw it up there quick. Just that is an idea.
And then we do have the council videos on.
Well, I know, but I mean, that's like an after the fact, and sometimes it can take an hour to watch it, whereas this is more of a, here's what council's dealing with, here's the agenda. It takes 15, 20 seconds to look at it, people know what's going on. I think it might do a lot of positive good. And then I've also, in the past month and a half, received multiple complaints in Firestone Farms of excessive speeding. I've witnessed it myself several times. People like flying in, I think they got key times they're thinking they're about to miss. And they come in at 40, 50 miles an hour, and you can see they just fly through all the streets. I'm just wondering, Chief, if it's something that we could either, I know you guys are out there continuously. I see them driving through, but I don't think I've ever, in the 10 years I've lived there, seen someone pulled over. I'm wondering if we could maybe make a little bit of a presence so that people know, especially they're pulling into the golf course side, to not come flying through.
We can absolutely address that, and we do enforcement out there. We have.
I see you constantly out there.
We have, in fact, we've had some complaints. What happens is we go in a place like that when people complain about the speeding, we end up getting some of the people who complain and speed through, but I'll absolutely take care of that. We can't win. We'll do that. The way we traditionally do this is like anything else with the parking or anything else. We go out there, we'll have a visible presence. If that's not working, and we start issuing warnings of traffic stops, that's not working, we begin to issue citations, unless of course the speed becomes, as you see, like 50 or 25, we can't help you with that.
Especially, I mean, this time of year in the summer, and it just
Right.
something to keep an eye on. I mean, I've actually been getting requests to see what we could do for like speed bumps and stuff through there. And that's the last thing I really would want to have to deal with, but it would work.
Yeah.
But it's that bad. And then I also just wanted to, for anyone that isn't aware, and anyone who's over there probably is, but the Camelot Bridge reopened. For what that's worth, it took forever, but it's done, and should be safe.
But to help you narrow it down just a bit, do you have specific times when it seems to be worse, like the traditional to and from work time?
No, because a lot of them are golfers coming in, so I mean, it's throughout the day, especially on the weekends. It's usually like 8 in the morning through about 2 in the afternoon. I mean, that's really when it tapers off. And then again, there is a pickup in the evenings, like people coming after work, 5:30, 6 o'clock, when they're like rushing from work to try to get there. They fly through there. So it's got to be what it is. Yeah. I just wanted to see if we could put that on the radar.
We'll put that on the radar, so to speak.
Thank you.
I would agree with you with this agenda ahead of time. We always had that done when I was still working in high school with board agendas, and a lot of times you may not need to be there, but then on the other side of the coin, you may need to be there.
I did it for years with my personal website that I had. I mean, I was putting the agendas and the meeting minutes, and I know it got trafficked. I mean, a lot. I couldn't keep up with doing. I was putting every the scan and everything that we were doing. I think it was a ton of work. But I think at least the agendas and the minutes are something that should be easily accessible.
Follow-up question is who would be responsible to do that?
Right, I mean, it's normally, I think we have a web hosting company now that adding like individual links, or it's a minute. I mean, if we have the PDF that they're going to print out for our agenda anyway, it should be easy to submit up there. Any other comments? If not, I need a motion to go into executive session for the discussion of confidential information, section 121.22 G8.
So moved.
Need a motion to come out of executive session
So moved.
Leanne?
Okay, who made the second?
I did.
McBain?
Yes.
Challenger?
Yes.
Simpson?
Yes.
Becker?
Go ahead, say
You want to stay in, go right ahead, I'm going home.
Yes. I just wanted to get everybody's opinion on it. Yes.
Need a, motion to adjourn.
So moved.